100 days in, and Trump 2.0 is already rewriting the rules of the presidency. From record-shattering executive orders to historic pardons, mass federal layoffs, and a border crackdown like never before, this isn't just déjà vu, it's a full-blown political thunderstorm. But behind the headlines and controversy, what has Trump done in these critical first 100 days? Buckle up, because we're diving deep into the facts, figures, and fallout of Trump's early moves that could change America's future again. As President Trump hits the 100-day milestone in his second term, the political world finds itself assessing not just the volume of his actions, but the potential legacy they might shape. Much like Franklin D. Roosevelt's historic first 100 days, the origin of this symbolic benchmark, Trump's early return to office is marked by a flurry of executive activity, dramatic reversals, controversial reforms, and bold declarations. Let's break it down, piece by piece, to understand what Trump has accomplished, or at least attempted, during these first crucial days of his renewed presidency. Executive orders, a presidential frenzy. In classic Trump fashion, his return to the White House didn't begin with a whisper. It began with a presidential roar. Within his first 100 days, Trump signed an eye-popping 142 executive orders, breaking records and leaving political analysts stunned. For perspective, Franklin D. Roosevelt, the king of early-term action, issued 99 executive orders in his first 100 days during the Great Depression. Trump? He blew past that in just over 3 months. Let's talk about week 1. In the span of just 7 days, Trump signed 37 executive orders, each one designed to send a very clear message. The Trump era is back, and it's moving fast. These orders cover a wide range of issues, but they all carry his unmistakable brand: bold, controversial, and fiercely nationalistic. Shrinking the federal government. One of Trump's earliest orders initiated a hiring freeze across non-military federal agencies. "We are cutting the bloat and draining the swamp, starting now," Trump declared in the Oval Office. His goal? To limit government overreach and return power to the states and individuals. Tightening immigration. Among the most headline-grabbing moves was an executive order aimed at ending birthright citizenship, a constitutional guarantee under the 14th Amendment. Trump argued, "We are the only country that allows people to just walk in, have a baby, and that baby becomes a citizen. It's ridiculous, and it's going to stop." The order immediately sparked legal challenges and has been temporarily blocked, pending a ruling from the Supreme Court. Constitutional scholars are already calling it a landmark case in the making. Ban on transgender troops. Another executive action revived Trump's earlier push to ban transgender individuals from serving in the military. Framing it as a matter of military readiness, Trump stated, "Our military must be focused on decisive and overwhelming victory, and cannot be burdened with the tremendous medical costs and disruption that transgender service entails." Critics, however, called the move discriminatory, and several advocacy groups filed lawsuits, leading to temporary injunctions in multiple federal courts. Foreign aid freeze. In a move that rattled international partners, Trump signed an executive order placing a freeze on foreign aid to countries that do not prioritize American interests. He explained, "We're not the world's piggy bank. We're done funding people who don't like us. That ends now." Energy and trade. In energy, Trump rolled back Obama-era climate regulations, greenlighting new drilling projects and fast-tracking pipeline approvals. On trade, he signed executive orders to increase tariffs on specific imports, especially from China, saying, "No more unfair trade. No more China ripping us off. We are putting America first again." These executive orders paint a clear picture. Trump 2.0 is not about compromise, but it's about speed, disruption, and reclaiming control. Whether you love him or loathe him, there's no denying it. Trump's pen is working overtime, and it's rewriting the rulebook at breakneck speed. Reversing Biden. A presidential tug-of-war. Perhaps even more remarkable than the number of Trump's new directives is how quickly he undid the work of his predecessor. Within mere hours of taking office, Trump rescinded 78 Biden executive actions, focusing mainly on climate policy, pandemic response, and equity initiatives. By mid-April, that number had climbed to 111 revoked presidential orders, nearly all of which originated during Biden's term. This isn't new. Biden himself reversed dozens of Trump's first-term orders when he took office in 2021. But the sheer scale and speed of the reversals under Trump 2.0 is unprecedented. The pattern reveals a core instability in modern presidential governance. Policies built on executive orders are easily swept away, reinforcing the fragility of relying on presidential fiat for long-term change. Legislative record, just 5 bills. While executive orders offer speed, they lack permanence. Legislation, on the other hand, is harder to pass and harder to reverse. Trump has signed only 5 bills into law so far in his second term. Among them is the Laken-Riley Act, a law passed in the wake of a high-profile tragedy, as well as a stopgap spending bill, and 3 resolutions under the Congressional Review Act rolling back Biden-era rules. By comparison, Trump signed 28 bills in his first 100 days in 2017. George W. Bush signed 7, and Biden managed 11, including the sweeping $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill. This record low, just 5, underscores Trump's reliance on executive authority and the challenges he faces in navigating a divided or resistant Congress. Where Trump goes, lawsuits follow, and his second term is shaping up to be a legal battleground of epic proportions. According to a litigation tracker by Just Security, over 210 lawsuits have already been filed against the Trump administration, with Lawfare reporting at least 258 ongoing legal challenges. That's not a typo. We're talking about hundreds of lawsuits, many of them filed just weeks into his return to the Oval Office. What's at the center of the legal chaos? A torrent of executive orders, especially those targeting immigration policies, federal employee rights, environmental regulations, and Trump's controversial bid to end birthright citizenship. One of the most hotly contested legal battles surrounds Trump's attempt to terminate birthright citizenship by executive order. Critics argue that it directly violates the 14th Amendment. Several federal courts have already issued temporary injunctions, while the case now seems destined for the U.S. Supreme Court. Then there's the freeze on foreign aid and the revived transgender military ban, both of which have attracted fierce legal opposition from civil rights groups and advocacy organizations. Judges in states like California and New York have already placed temporary blocks on these actions, citing potential constitutional violations. Legal scholars warn these lawsuits could dramatically shape the pace and power of Trump's presidency. If courts continue to strike down or stall executive actions, it could slow Trump's momentum. But if the Supreme Court upholds his orders, it could open the door to even more aggressive policy changes. So buckle up, because Trump's second term isn't just playing out in the halls of Congress or the media spotlight. It's being fought tooth and nail in courtrooms across America. Public approval, slipping support. Trump's approval rating currently stands at 42%, down from 45% in March, according to a joint NPR-PBS Marist poll. That's in line with his historical trend. Trump never crossed 44% during his first term and left office with 38% approval in 2021. By contrast, Biden began his term with 53% approval, but ended it at the same 42% mark Trump now holds. This number highlights a deeply divided nation, where partisan allegiance continues to shape public perception far more than specific policy actions. Pardons, a presidential sweep for January. 6 defendants. In a stunning and controversial move, one of Trump's first actions was issuing a blanket pardon for all individuals convicted in connection with the January 6th Capitol riot. This included some 1,500 defendants, many of whom had been convicted of violent offenses. Trump also commuted the sentences of 14 individuals linked to far-right extremist groups like the Oath Keepers and Proud Boys. In total, 39 individuals and entities have received pardons since Trump returned to office, a number that dwarfs the early pardon activity of past presidents. Biden didn't issue a pardon until April 2022, more than a year into his term. Trump, during his first term, waited until August 2017. The January 6th mass pardon was a symbolic, divisive move that sent shockwaves through the political establishment and the justice system alike. Federal workforce shakeup, DOJ and the mass layoffs. In one of the most radical moves of his second term, Trump created the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, led by none other than Elon Musk. Doge has reportedly overseen the layoff or departure of tens of thousands of federal employees. The White House cited a fork-in-the-road buyout offer that was accepted by 75,000 workers. While some hail this as a major step toward reducing bureaucracy, others call it reckless. Some layoffs were reversed following legal action, and the cost-saving claims remain unverified. Whether Doge delivers efficiency or chaos remains an open question, but its early impact is undeniable. Immigration, record-low border crossings. Trump's immigration policy was central to his campaign, and it's already defining his second term. In March, U.S. border crossings hit a record low, just 7,180 at the southwest border, compared to the 155,000 monthly average over the previous 4 years. This sharp drop aligns with Trump's renewed focus on enforcement and deportation. His administration has detained and deported both undocumented and legal status immigrants, drawing fierce criticism from advocacy groups and legal pushback from the courts. While immigration numbers were already on the decline throughout 2024, Trump's team has credited their new policies for the drastic reduction. Tariffs, a return to economic nationalism. Another hallmark of Trump's return has been the aggressive reimposition of tariffs. The administration has enacted a baseline 10% tariff on all imported goods, 25% tariffs on steel, aluminum, vehicles, and car parts, additional country-specific tariffs on China, Canada, and Mexico. The Yale Budget Lab reports the average effective tariff rate is now 28%, the highest since 1901. The move has stirred international concern and jittered global markets. Critics warn of potential inflationary effects and disrupted supply chains, while Trump argues it's necessary to rebalance trade and protect American industries. Inflation, slight dip to 2.4%. But is it just luck? On the campaign trail, Trump boldly vowed to end inflation for good. Fast forward to March, and inflation clocked in at 2.4%, marking a slight but noticeable dip from the highs of recent years. At first glance, it looks like a win. But is it really a result of Trump's economic strategy, or is the dip just a temporary fluke? The administration has been quick to celebrate the numbers, crediting the decrease to tariff reforms, energy deregulation, and a renewed push for domestic manufacturing. With gas prices easing and consumer spending cooling slightly, some voters are starting to feel that promised relief at the pump and in grocery aisles. However, economists urge caution. Many argue the shift could be driven more by global oil trends, central bank policies, and market corrections than direct White House action. Inflation is notoriously unpredictable, and one good month doesn't guarantee a long-term fix. Still, for an administration that thrives on fast wins and big headlines, the 2.4% figure is a shiny trophy, whether earned or inherited. Trump's team is using it to frame a narrative of economic comeback, but the real test will come in the months ahead. Conclusion: Trump's second-term kickoff has been nothing short of historic in scale, speed, and controversy. From executive action overload to legal battles, mass pardons, and sweeping bureaucratic cuts, his first 100 days reflect a presidency unafraid of confrontation. Whether these actions lead to lasting policy change or unravel in the courts remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: Trump has made his presence felt, fast and loud. This 100-day snapshot may not predict the future, but it paints a vivid picture of what Trump's America looks like: determined, disruptive, and deeply divided. What do you think these 100 days say about what's coming next? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like if this blew your mind, and hit that subscribe button for the wild ride ahead, because this is just the beginning.